Welcome, everyone, to the Winning Together podcast. Today, you've got Shay, the coach who connects all the way with himself, Aslet. Today, you've got Shay, I connect with all of me, Aslet. The podcast today is geared around recovery from loss, death, loved ones, family, friends who are not in this same experience in the same way anymore with us. This comes up, if you look at the podcast before this, it was a dedication to someone that was part of the team. I Am Recovery is a world-class recovery institution that sponsors this podcast, and she was part of the team. She was doing her work, and she was giving it, and she was changing her life and experiencing that transformation. And she's transitioned. My relationship with Emily was connected to working with her at I Am Recovery, where I coach at and where I teach yoga. My gift allowed me to connect deeply and authentically with her in the interactions I had with her. Well, I don't get to send her text messages like I used to, or call her, or see her in the same way anymore. And when you think about recovery, if you look at how it's defined, it's the regaining of or possibility of regaining something that's lost or taken away. It's a restoration or a return to. It's a return to any former state or better state or condition. It's the time required to recover, something that is gained in recovering. It's the regaining of a substance in a usable form. Well, how do you recover when your person or your life experience or the opportunity is gone forever in this way? It's traumatic. If you're listening to this, it's because you're willing to do your work. Because at the Winning Together podcast, we do our flippin' work. And because of that, I've got something worthwhile to share with you. As I've experienced my experience with the traumatic loss of a person that you care about, and as you are experiencing on your end and in your world, in your way, whether it's Emily or somebody you care about, or it's a dog, or it's a relationship, or it's you can never see your kids when they were young and fun, the lost opportunities. How do you recover when you can't get them back? Well, recovery is a process, and being healthy and happy and a human who's growing, there has to be a way. There has to be a way for your feelings and your emotions and your thoughts and your beliefs and your body to not stay stuck in the feelings of grief, anger, loss, profound aloneness, rejection, confusion, feeling sick in your body. Well, if recovery is restoring, if recovery is regaining something back in usable substance, it starts out with first understanding that although you may have lost someone or something that's really valuable and important to you, if you're still listening to this and you're alive, there's still connection. Now, often it's said in the recovery space now that the opposite of addiction is connection. You can only be as connected to your world as you are connected to yourself. So if funerals, if rejection, loss, gone forever, how you're responding to that is what matters here. What you're doing with that is what matters. Because if your response to the trauma is disassociation, distraction, numbing out, ignoring your intuition, denying your feelings or your responses, getting angry or putting down other people, eating what's coming, your emotions that are coming up, those are strategies and tactics and ways of coping that keep you in a state of disconnection. There may be a degree of processing or coping. It's the connection to yourself and what's coming up in your body and your soul and your mind is how connected you are to the world around you. So to recover from a funeral, losing a friend who's important to you, a family member, a dog, a lover, a relationship, a child, an opportunity, things you can't get back ever. First, being willing to connect with all of you and believing that it's possible that something different can happen here than feeling grief and anger and loss and less than and zero and ignoring, pretending like it didn't happen. Creating what it could be, what you would want it to be, is the first step. Believing it can be different. Giving your body, your emotions and your thoughts and your beliefs a different target, a different path to pursue. If there was a part of us that was around before this world was created and this experience happened, then we go somewhere after. And whether you look at a God or a Buddha or a Christ or a Muhammad or source energy or the universe, energy stays. It stays. It doesn't go anywhere. It might change forms, but it doesn't go anywhere. So then that makes the possibility that you can still connect with Emily powerfully, or your loss, or your person, or your experience. You can still connect with that. It's real. It matters. And the reason it matters, and if you're willing to go there, is that's where the opportunity to transform is. So in growing up and experiencing trauma as a child, and then having it follow you throughout your life, and then get into a point or a place that you want to figure out why you're doing or how you're doing things that are not working in your life and learning where that comes from, you didn't get your needs met. Some of your needs met at some point. And one of the strategies to get your needs met is going back and reparenting yourself, being the parent to yourself that you wish you would have had when you were having that traumatic experience at some point in a child. And traumatic experiences don't have to be always these heavy, father dies, war breaks out, you are a different race than where you grow up, and so you get discriminated against. Along with physical trauma, accidents, body breaks down or has disease, or you're ignored as a child, or you go hungry. There are lots of significant events in your life that are traumatic. We can widen that definition and include any recurring event or otherwise that creates the belief that we aren't good enough and that we must change how we are to fit in. So events that come up for you that create anxiety, depression, you're lethargic, they make you want to use substance abuse. You get sick to your stomach or headaches or migraines, physical ailments, anything around feeling stuck. Because most, if not all, of our suffering comes from wanting something that we believe we cannot have. You want to be and see and hug and hold your friend Emily, your daughter Emily, your sister Emily, your mom Emily, your dog that passed away. That time with your dad that you love so much and he's not around anymore. The loss of your innocence. Before you lost your legs. Your suffering comes from believing you want something that you cannot have. That's traumatic. What do you do in that moment to recover? First, you got to believe you can, that it's possible. So we let go of it has to be. We can't bring somebody back from the dead. Even the genie from Aladdin's lamp couldn't do that. You can't go back and be with your dad again before he died. You can't go back and get your legs put back on. You can't go back from that time when your kids were 4 years old and they were magical and they liked you. What you can do, though, is let the person or yourself reparent or be that person you need now. So here's an example. Emily was your bestie, and you guys love to talk about tattoos, music, and art. In your times of anxiety or depression or sadness or loneliness or loss, you just want to see or be or send her a text message, you allow and imagine that she is there, talking to you, laughing, throwing you that smile, those eyes and that voice talking to you in the way that it matters to you. What was Emily to you? Or what did she mean to you? Was she that person who would shoot it to you straight? call you on your bullshit, then let her be there and imagine it happening. She's here, right there with you, doing it, being it. You just want to laugh. You just want to feel like it's okay to laugh. Then let her be there to tell you jokes. Imagine it, feel it in your body and your brain. Do not distinguish from what is really happening when she was with you and you imagining it's happening now. It will still release the same chemistry. It'll still process the trauma and the feelings and the emotions in a healthier way that it allows it to pass through your body and not get stuck there. Because if it gets stuck there, your body's going to it's going to show up in your body. It's going to show up in your relationships. It's going to show up in your health. It's going to show up in your beliefs. And if you're being true to what somebody like Emily meant to you, or your dog, or your dad, or that opportunity if you had it again, if you're being true, your call to action will be to show up as your better self. And in that way, you can find some completion, some restoration, some recovery, some new insights. My first dog was a pit bull that came to us in a miraculous way. I've always wanted a dog. Wouldn't let myself get one until I had the house. And when I had the house, within a couple months, I had my dog. Getting a pit bull was the breed for me. And over 10 years, that dog and I bonded deeply and profoundly. And he passed. And I suffered. For almost 2 years, I didn't want to acknowledge that he had passed. And when it came time for me to do my work, I went and spread some of his ashes in places that we had been. And one of those areas was a hike. We'd go hiking up in the Wasatch Mountains. And as I went up there and I spread his ashes, I connected because I was acknowledging what was real. Physically, he's not here in my life anymore. My dog, Spades, who profoundly and fundamentally changed, influenced my life for the better, for the doggone better, is not physically with me, but in that moment that I was willing to acknowledge and accept and release the trauma that I was holding on to in a special way, he spoke to me. And what my dog taught me in that moment, that time, was that every day I showed up and came back, my dog was not holding grudges and saying, wow, you were at work for 9 hours today and you said you're only going to be there for 8. Well, I'm not going to come wag my tail. Don't pet me. He'd never say that, hey, you didn't take me for a walk yesterday. Well, I don't want to go for a walk with you today. What he reminded me, and he was willing to teach me because I was willing to create and let him teach me from wherever he is, or the idea of him, or the experience that is real to me, to come back and share and teach me, was that every day he showed up and every day was at start over. And he loved me 100%. He didn't drag whatever was in the past or yesterday into today. He wagged his tail the same. He came up and wanted me to pet him the same. He went on a walk the same. And I listened and I learned, I did. So one of my core mantras is all we have is today. So if I need to say sorry today, I'm going to say sorry. If I need to let something go, I'm going to let it go. If I need to make something right, I'm going to make it right because all I have is today. My dog taught me that deeply. matters is how we treat the people in our lives that are close to us while we have them and while I'm alive and while I'm here. Emily, she may be gone out of your life. Your spouse or partner that you lost, that son or daughter that you don't know where they're at. You let them be there in the way, or you be there in the way that you said you'd show up, and you will find healing. You will find your body allowing the trauma to pass through. You'll find your nervous system down regulating and not generating so much of the stress hormones. And you will be able to grieve. And in the grieving, you'll be in a place where the experience or the person can give. And when you're willing to receive and they're willing to give, guess what you're doing? Connecting. And when you're allowing yourself to imagine Emily here, what would she tell me? How would she tell it? How would she make me laugh? How would she comfort me? Even though she's not in the car with you, even though she's not going to respond to that text you want to send her or laugh at that picture that you're sharing, if you will imagine and allow her to be there with you, you will connect with all of you because you're honoring all the emotions and feelings and thoughts that are coming up. You're not getting caught in a traumatic loop of negative chemistry that is causing you to be angry with people or withdrawn or aloof or catty or bratty or watching a bunch of shows about loved ones dying and people sad because they've lost somebody and it's never going to come back. Quit it. Stop it. If that's the connection and the recovery, how do you get there? In the moment the emotions are coming up, that you're really losing your friend, you're really you're really missing them. You're really caring deeply. You feel so alone or so angry. Here's some tactics. First of all, acknowledge, wow, I'm feeling this way. I really want to withdraw. And I'm really distracting with entertainment or social media or food. And if Emily were here, she wouldn't sit there and say, yeah, eat me away. Eat how you feel about me. So it's acknowledging, okay, I'm feeling these powerful emotions. You maybe not know where they're coming from. We're talking about loss at a funeral. So that's where I'm assuming you know where they're coming from. Yeah, these are just some tactics, all right, guys? Take your right hand and put it on your left shoulder. Take your right hand or your left hand and put it on your right shoulder. So it's almost like you're giving yourself a hug, but your arms are crossed in front, and you start breathing in through your nose and out through your nose. Deep breaths. $10, $20, $30 times. Deep inhales, deep exhales. As deep as you can or as you're willing to, and as even as possible. 2, 3, 4 in. 4, 3, 2, 1 out. Even, deep and even. The next is moving. Stand up, twist and shout, yell, sing, go for a walk, punch the couch, lift some weights, text somebody you care about and tell you love them. Physical movement is the next thing that needs to happen. However that looks for you. 2 push-ups, 3 jumping jacks. Remember that time that you went dancing with her or to a concert, or that you were goofing off and you fell out of your chair because you were laughing so hard. Recreate that. Put on that song that reminds you of her, and you play it loud, and you dance, or you move. The next is, what would she tell you now? What would she be? Who would she be there for you in this moment? I allowed my dog to give to me in that moment what I was seeking. What would she give to you in this moment? Laughter, compassion, empathy, tough love. Would she just listen? Would she draw you something? And allow that to come at you and come in you and let it be. So as you listen, as you allow yourself to have that feedback, that opportunity happen, that magical, mystical experience happen, and you're present to it, you will feel connected. You will feel a sense or a degree of awe. And then you ask her, you ask the experience, you ask the moment, what do I do next? And your inner wisdom will tell you. Your intuition will show you. And it may be nothing. Maybe that's it. It just completes. The reason that you put your arms and you cross them so your right hand is on your left shoulder and your left hand's on your right shoulder is it connects both hemispheres of your brain. And when both hemispheres of your brain are connecting and working together, and then combined with the deep breathing, the polyvagal nerve complex that regulates your nervous system, it's able to down-regulate and get into a place that's in a range where you can be receptive. And it's in that range where you're receptive that bodily movement gets you into. Singing, dancing, jumping, twisting, shouting, walking. And in that place, you're receptive. You're open. Your nervous system is not putting you in a fight, flight, or freeze place. And then you can hear. You can hear her. You can be with her. You can hear them. You can be with that. We remember moments. You can remember that moment. It is real and alive in your life right now, today, in this moment. And on the other side of all this is joy, is peace, is love, is connection, is possibility, is progress. It's emotional maturity, emotional regulation, growth, oneness, awe. All treasures that you say you want if you're listening to this podcast. Thank you for listening, being you, showing up, giving a opportunity to you to become all you and connect with all of you, because it's connecting with all of you that recovery works its magic. It transforms you. Do the work. Emily did it. She was doing it. If you listen to her podcast, you know she was doing exactly what she said she was going to do. Now you go and do what you said you're going to do to the best of your abilities, however it looks, and let her cheer you on. Work with your team. Get a coach. Call on recovery. 801-407-9998. This podcast is dedicated today anyway to the chief clinician, cool king of wanting people to light their lights within, Jared Casey. Thank you, Jared, for creating the I Am Recovery machine of transformation, the Windy Other podcast, and inspiring so much transformation and possibility and joy for so many people. Thank you. Everyone, thanks for listening. You know somebody that this resonates with. Share it with them. Put into practice what you've heard and go and win. Today, you win. Because if you're winning, I'm winning. And we win together. Take care, everybody.